Hello, welcome to day 3 and its lessons. Today our first lesson is going to be going over polygons and their attributes. On the actual page you have a link to this organizer, this polygon organizer that has notes. If you have the opportunity to print it out, you can. Most of us don't have printers, so we can just take notes on a regular sheet of paper. This whole entire lesson is going to be it's going to be a lot of terms and definitions, so at any time pause it, take as much notes as you can, because you'll need them not only for the following activity, but you will also need them for the next lesson about Venn diagrams as well. Let's see. Alright, so on our page we have several triangles. So let's talk about what a triangle is first. Triangle is a three-sided figure. So we have all three of these shapes down here that are different types of triangles. So let's point out a couple of these words. Our first word is equilateral. An equilateral triangle means that all the sides are equal length. So if you notice at this triangle on the right hand side, you have this triangle with all three of these sides being exactly the same. That would also mean that all three of these angles on the inside are the same. They would all be 60 degrees. An isosceles triangle means that two of the sides are the same, but the third side is different. So we look at this one, we have these two sides that are exactly the same length, and then you have this third side that looks to be a little bit shorter, or the third side could be longer, depending on however they draw it. Scaling means that you have no equal sides, that all three sides are completely different lengths. You have this smaller side, then a medium side, then the longest side. So these are your different types of triangles. Again, make sure that you are aware what equilateral, isosceles, and scaling means. Next we have our triangles continued. We have scaling again, which we just found out means no equal sides, and we have isosceles again, which we know means two equal sides, but we now have a little word in between those two that say right. Right means that it's a 90-degree angle. So in this one it says a scaling right triangle. That means no equal sides and one 90-degree angle. So we notice we have a small side, a medium side, and a long side. These two angles look very small, but this one looks like it's a 90-degree angle. It fits perfectly there to be a box, right? Isosceles right triangle. Again, isosceles means two sides are equal. So we have these two sides that look equal in length, and then you have this third side that's longer. And then we have our 190-degree angle right here. Imagine if we were to put a little box right here, it would be 90 degrees exactly. Now, most of the time on these types of angles, you will have an actual little marking right here that looks like an upside down L. I could not get that on this screen, but on the pictures and paper that you have on your activities, it will have that 90-degree box. Alright, keep going. Let's see. On the second page it says the definition, or it shows quadrilaterals as its own thing. All of these are types of quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral is just a four-sided figure. It has four sides. Just like a triangle has three, quadrilateral has four. There's a bunch of shapes that have four different sizes. So let's look at this first one, a square. How do you tell the difference between a square, a rectangle, a rhombus, a parallelogram, all those shapes with four sides? Well, a square specifically says all four sides have to be the same, and all four angles have to be right angles, have to be 90 degrees. So not only do all four sides have to be equal, but all four angles have to be 90 degrees as well. The difference between a square and a rectangle, because a rectangle also has four 90-degree angles, so all four of those angles, just like in a square, are all the same. However, in a rectangle, it doesn't have four equal sides. The opposite sides are equal, so this one and this one are equal, and then the top and the bottom are equal. but not all four of them. A parallelogram, a parallelogram has four sides. It's a four-sided figure, but that all the sides are parallel to the opposite side. So it has nothing to do with congruent. The opposite sides are going to be congruent, just like in a rectangle. So this top side and the bottom side are going to be equal to each other, and the two left and right sides will be equal to each other, but most importantly, they are parallel with each other. Parallel means that they are opposite, they will never touch. Okay. Alright, now we have three more types of quadrilaterals. Again, a quadrilateral is a four-sided figure. Our first one is a trapezoid. A trapezoid is similar to a parallelogram because it does have parallel lines. This top and bottom line are parallel to each other. However, these sides are not parallel to each other. If we were to continue this line out and continue this line out, eventually up here they would meet, which means they would touch, so they're not parallel. So it only has one set of parallel lines. On your worksheet or on the notes paper, it does give you an isosceles trapezoid and a right trapezoid. So we already went over what isosceles meant on the very first slide. It means two equal sides. So imagine this one over here. This line is very small, this line is very big, so they're not equal. But if you look at these two sides, they look like that they are equal. So these are my two equal sides of this isosceles trapezoid. A right trapezoid again means it has at least one 90-degree angle. So if I look at this trapezoid, again we know it's a trapezoid because it has these two parallel lines. And then here's where it tells me that right angle, because there's that 90-degree angle right there, that box. So this would be a right trapezoid, this would be an isosceles trapezoid. You can just have a regular trapezoid where these two sides are not the same. So for instance, this one, if I were to take that box away so you didn't think it was right, this would be a regular trapezoid because it does not have any equal sides. A rhombus. A rhombus is very similar to a square because it does have four equal sides. What makes it different from a square is that these angles are not 90 degrees. So it has parallel sides and it has equal angles or equal sides, but the angles are not the same as a square. They are not 90 degrees. My last one on here is a kite. A kite is a four-sided figure with two pairs of congruent corresponding sides. We haven't had this word corresponding yet, so let's talk about what that means. Corresponding means that they are next to each other. So we've had parallel sides which are opposite of each other, but we haven't had corresponding, which means next to each other. So it's not the opposite side, so it's not this one and this one. It's the ones that are directly next to each other are congruent. They are equal. So if you think about in a kite, you have the two small sides that are the same at the top and the two big sides that are the same at the bottom. That's essentially what a kite is. No right angles, no parallel lines. The last thing that you have on your paper are some polygons that are regular. Polygon means it's a many-sided figure. Regular, the word regular means everything in it is equal. All of the sides are equal, all of the angles are equal. So in this pentagon, penta means 5. This pentagon has 5 equal sides and 5 equal angles. So if I were to just say a pentagon, that means I can make that pentagon look like whatever I want. So let's say that I have this pentagon right here. This is clearly not equal, all equal sides and all equal angles. These two lines are way bigger. These two angles are way bigger than this one, right? So this would just be a pentagon. Whereas if I put the word regular in front of it, that means every single side and every single angle are equal. Same thing with a hexagon right here. It's 6 sides because hexa means 6, with all equal sides and all equal angles. So if it's a regular hexagon, it looks like a stop sign, or wait, a stop sign. Yeah, looks like a stop sign. It has all 6 sides that are the same, all 6 angles that are the same. Whereas if it's just a hexagon and there is no regular in front of it, it could be a hexagon that looks like this, because the sides don't have to all be the same. That should include everything on that list that you need to know. Here are just a couple of the key terms to go over again, because you're going to need these during the Venn diagram part. Right, anytime you see the word right, it means a 90 degrees angle. So if you are having to name a figure and it's like a square, you can say that it has right angles. Parallel, anything that has that's parallel means that it's across from each other, the lines that are across from each other, and they will never touch. Regular means that all sides and all angles are equal. Equilateral means all sides are equal. Isosceles means 2 sides are equal. And scalene means no sides are equal. Again, pause this as much as you want. Make sure that you take a lot of notes so that way you have it for the next lesson.